It is the J&J Burk Home Show. I'm going to give you a phone number and then an email address where you can contact us with any questions, because this has been very informative. I know you've had people tell you they really appreciated just the information alone, and that's what we want, and that's why this show is created, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But J&J Burk Home Show at townsquaremedia.com. That's if you have a question and you feel like, okay, I'd like to send a question to Jay. Maybe he can answer this for me. Just go to J&J Burk Home Show at townsquaremedia.com, or we've got a designated phone line you can call, 581-3605. Now, it's just going to pick up and say, leave your question, so it's not like you're going to talk to us directly. But if we could have an opportunity to use your question, especially if it's something very common, use your question on the air, you could also win a prize. And in fact, a weekly drawing that we're going to have for anybody that submits either through the townsquaremedia.com, that's J&J Burk Home Show at townsquaremedia.com, or if you call in at 581-3605, we use your question, or even if we don't, all of those will go in for an entry. And let's talk about this week's prize. I always like to talk about what we're going to give away first, and then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of the show. But what are we giving away this week, Jay?
Well, with all the dust and dirt and everything that's going on, with all the wind we've had in southwest Oklahoma, we decided that we would do duct cleaning. It's a $750 value. We will come in and clean your ductwork, and so that's this week's prize.
Now, what's the importance of cleaning out the ducts? You say, okay, a ductwork prize, okay, that's really great, but what is the significance of that?
Well, obviously, sometimes inside duct, they get moisture, and so they grow mold, and they have bacterias and things that grow inside there. You can imagine the stuff that we get out. I mean, there are times that we get out 4 and 5 pounds of dirt out of a heating and air system ductwork. Yes,
dirt, not dust.
No, it's just dirt. And and I know this is going to sound really, really gross.
Put down your coffee mug just for a second.
Get ready.
Okay.
But what we're getting out of there is human skin.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it's not
that's
good.
what's on your fan blade.
It's not good.
We're not. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we want it out. Okay. We don't
so
need
how
to be
often
breathing.
have you cleaned your fan blades? Is the
Exactly.
question. If your fan blades tell any kind of what's going on in your house, then you know what that duct's worth and what it's looking like. I'm glad you're going to do that.
Yeah. For years, I was not very educated in that, and I always thought it was dirt until I found out.
Well, and you pointed out this last week, and I don't think people put the two and two together so much with that, is all the allergies. And we always blame it on, well, it's springtime, and everything is out, and it's just in the air. Well, what's out in the air outside is also in the air in your home.
And you spend more time in your home than anywhere else. I mean, you sleep there. You're there all the time, and so when your air conditioner comes on and starts blowing that around in your face, and you wonder why your eyes itch and you're sneezing, and you say, I'm always home. I feel,
I feel better outside than I do inside.
When I go to work, I feel better, Well, it's because we probably need to clean your ductwork, clean your system, make sure that everything's up and running right.
Does that help with efficiency, too, as far as...
Oh, sure. Because your evaporator coil is the thing that's actually above your heater, and most people don't even know where that's at, but it's hidden pretty much, but that it catches that skin. It catches that dog hair, human hair. I mean, we pull stuff out, and I'll be honest with you, even as heating air guys, we're sometimes like, oh my gosh.
Well, but you know what? That's not too much of a surprise when you think about just your vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
And you say it's amazing just what's in your rugs. And
right.
you say, I would have never guessed that. I see it every day. I would have never guessed that came out of there,
Well, we have a HEPA bag. Our machine goes through and brushes the inside of your ductwork.
Okay.
It's called RotoBrush, and it brushes the inside of your ductwork as it also has a vacuum hose behind it that sucks all of that back in. So it's not like we come in and destroy your home trying to clean your ductwork. And your ductwork should be cleaned about every 5 years. But we take that hose through there, and it brushes the inside of it and cleans it. And so we do each and every one of your grills that way. We take your grills down, clean your grills, because you know how they get stuff on them anyway. And so we make sure all that's clean. And then we do a disinfectant. We actually spray a disinfectant. Wow. It's a chlorine disinfectant that is safe for pets and humans, obviously. But it goes through, and it basically helps us make sure we don't have mold or bacteria growing inside that ductwork. But there will be time. We have a HEPA bag that it goes into this machine. And when we take it out and show people, I mean, we have to carry it out. It's a 5-pound bag, and it's level full of stuff that we got out of their ductwork. And people are just like, oh my gosh, no wonder. And so we get a lot of calls after the fact saying, my house smells different. And in
a good way.
Yeah. I mean, it actually smells good.
Hey, can you get a scent like homemade cookies or something like that you could put up there so we can smell those all the time? No, I think that is it's something that we can not think about and neglect, and we talked about that last week. It would be like not changing your oil forever, and you know what that would be? Oh, that would be disastrous. I would never do that.
Right.
Well, but we don't think about that stuff with home care, and I've told people this, especially when they're just not even changing those cheap filters you can get. And they say, well, my AC is locked up and it's frozen up. I said, well, have you changed those in a while? Because that's the first thing I know they'll look at, because, it's like trying to breathe through a wet sock. I mean, it's just so full, and it's taken more and more strain on it. And one other question about the ductwork, and then we'll kind of move from there, is when you do this cleaning, is that also a way that you can check if my ducts are crimped, or, if anything like maybe there's something like escaping up in the attic like we talked about last week?
Absolutely. We do not only a visual check from up in the attic, but we also have a camera that we can run up through your ductwork and see if we have a problem in your ductwork, especially if you say, hey, this room has, and we hear this all the time. This one bedroom that's the farthest away from the heater, I get
That's
no
someone
air.
here at the radio station that says that.
Yeah,
she already told
exactly.
You.
It's hot, it's cold. It's, and so those are things that can be fixed. And a lot of times we can find that by, people crawl through your attic to do your cable, or electricians crawl through, and sometimes even chubby heat and air guys like me, we crawl through, and it's not always easy, and nobody ever means to crush something. Maybe you don't notice it, but over time those things flatten out and become ovaled and sometimes completely crushed by people being up in the attic. And we've been up there and found all kinds of stuff. We have found squirrels and possums and
other things living in there.
Yeah. And people say, and we truly have. We've gone to houses where there's a whole family of possums living in the attic, and they're not happy to see us, and we couldn't be any happier to get out of the attic when we see them. But
and they're either trying to get to the warm air in the wintertime or wherever.
They've made a nice, warm, cozy house because they've tore the ductwork apart and they're living there. Hard to believe.
Well, and one more other thing is you mentioned the fact if someone says it's really too hot or too cold, and I'm not trying to make fun because I know people that do this, but the solution is let's not find out what the problem is. Let's put a window unit in there, even though I have central heat and air, but this is the hottest room, and then to solve that, I'll just go down and get a window unit. And you think there's got to be a better solution than that, or the reverse end, it's really cold in here, so I'll just get a little space heater in here because there's nothing flowing out of and you logically think, well, there's something up there that I don't know about, and I don't feel comfortable crawling around up there, and I don't know what's going on. But just to even get a call to even get it diagnosed, I think is the question.
Yeah, and it's something that you tell us you're having airflow issues and ductwork issues, we'll come give a free estimate to come take a look at it. It's not going to cost you anything for us to come out and tell you what we think we should do. But a lot of people, you're right, they'll put a window unit in, they don't realize how inefficient those window units can be. So your utilities are higher. And then for space heaters, they're the most dangerous thing in the world if they're not, people leave them on day and night and they put clothes up next to them, and especially if they have small children and things like that. It's just not something, as a temporary solution for a night or two, that's not a bad plan. But for a long-term solution for, hey, all winter because this room's always cold, let's plug this heater in, that's not the solution. So putting dampers in, doing things that we do to make sure that ductwork is sealed, we can guarantee that, and we measure that airflow to that room. So we make sure this room has the exact amount of airflow that's needed.
But I think too, and we're trying to do this as a service too, is to get over the fear that the obvious thing that someone's going to think of was, well, if I call them out, they're just going to tell me I'm going to need everything brand new. I mean, and we talked about this in the first couple of weeks, is that, you're not about doing that. No. And if you say, your outside unit is fine, that's not what you need. This is the little tips. That's what you're here for. It's not, let's get over that image of, they're going to just say a total new replacement from top to bottom.
Yeah, that's not going to happen because we want to go out and help you find solutions and affordable solutions. Not just, hey, I mean, it'd be great if every house I went to said, hey, we'll buy a brand new system, all new ductwork. I mean, I'm okay with that too, but my whole deal is that that's just not reality in the world we live in, and a lot of people don't have that kind of money, and so we're there to try to help, and we even have financing available that can help them finance some of this out so that they don't have to, take everything out of the bank and not eat for a month or two. And I know heating and air is not cheap. But keeping your house up is so important because, you're going to pay for it one way or the other. You're going to pay through the utility
little
bills
things along the way, or one big one at the end. Which
and you'd rather have a plan. We can sometimes go out and say, hey, the ductwork is bad. We can probably do a few things to fix this for now.
Right.
But let's plan on next year or 2 years down the road, let's start looking at we need to make a plan that we're going to change this ductwork.
Okay, so it's a $700 value, absolutely free if, because this is going to be an opportunity where your name will go in for a drawing. If you contact us at J&J Burk Home Show at townsquaremedia.com, give you an opportunity to write that down. J&J Burk Home Show at townsquaremedia.com. Or if you want to call and just leave us a voicemail message at 581-3605, we can do the same. Okay, we've got a special guest, and I don't want to completely ignore him because he's standing here so politely, just so nicely waiting. That you've got a special guest with us this morning. So go and introduce who he is and what we can talk about with him.
Yeah, our guest this morning is one of my employees and a good friend, Raul Sinaceros. He's actually my lead technician. He's been with me for how many years now? 10?
10 years.
Yeah, so I let him stay around that long. So he's a graduate of Oklahoma State University.
Ooh, we won't hold against him.
Yeah, I know. I said, but he's a Boomer Sooner. So
okay, well, that's good.
He's with us.
There are some that go. I'm like that. I wish OSU all the best when they're not playing one.
That's exactly
game.
what he says too. We both cheer for OSU, just as long as they're not playing OU. But he's the one that really comes out and does the evaluations and a lot of lion's share of the work when somebody has a problem, and he trains our guys that are out in the fields. So we wanted to bring him in this morning to really talk about, we believe maintenance is probably one of the biggest issues that we see with units. People, an average unit should last you 10 to 20 years. I mean, and that's a maintained unit. If you don't maintain your heating and air system, it won't last. I promise you, you're going to have major breakdowns and you're going to have major issues. But 10 to 20 years, I've even seen some go 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and we just taken out a couple this last week that were almost 30 years old. But the people were very diligent about, I'm going to change my filter. I'm going to make sure this is done. I'm having it serviced often. Yeah. And a lot of times the questions are, how many times a year should we do maintenance? And our from our philosophy, you should do it twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall. So we check the heating and air conditioning twice a year because things happen, And so one of the things my thought to bring in Raul was, he's going out to do these inspections, and we have different levels of inspections depending on how much you want to save, and what if you ever had a service call, you pay less money. So we have 3 different levels of our what we call Comfort Club, which is our maintenance agreement, and so some of the things that we thought that we would try to go over today is what exactly, some people say to me, well, when you come out and you do the maintenance, I wash my air conditioner out outside with my hose when I mow my lawn. That's not what we're talking about. Yes, we're gonna clean the outdoor unit, but there's so much more to it, and there's an inspection that we do. And so I thought maybe we'd give Raul a chance to kind of tell us a little bit about what he does when he gets to the job site. Exactly what do we do? I mean, what are we looking for? And so it's all yours.
Well, we pretty much, when we come out there to look at your air conditioner or your heater during the winter or the summer months, we usually in the summertime, we come out there and we pretty much check all your blower motor, your evaporator coil, we check your drain line, and we pretty much go outside and we check your subcooling on your air conditioner, and we make sure that everything is where it should be. And pretty much we do a 21-point inspection to make sure all your safeties on your heater are correct and all the safeties on your air conditioner are correct. We wash out the condenser outside. We make sure all the ductwork is it's attached. And we pretty much go through a little bit of everything on checking everything out.
We also, and Raul, I think one of the things that you guys do that I think is very good, and because we've really worked on that here at J&J Burk, but we also look at their ductwork, their insulation values, the things that we can make recommendations while they're there as well. So it's not like Jay always has to come out and make these recommendations. My guys are trained to actually look at, do you have enough insulation? Is your ductwork crushed? Do we have problems with it? But Raul, I think most of the units that you probably see are monthly filters that they're changed monthly. And so tell me what you could help with our listeners. What exactly changing the filter monthly, what does that do to help them?
It helps them on your utility bills, and first of all, it helps you get rid of all that pet hair and stuff like that. It also helps the life of your system. For example, if your filter gets really dirty, you pretty much restrict your airflow, and it causes the blower motor to pull more amp draw, which causes your utility bills to be higher, and it causes more strength on your unit. So in the long run, it kills the life of the unit. I mean, it helps it a lot.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, nowadays when we put in new systems, all of our systems come with a 1-year filter. It's about 5 inches thick. It's a huge filter, but you change it one time a year. That's the lifetime of it. And the reason they've done that is because notoriously, we as homeowners, and I'll raise my hand because I'm one of the first ones to tell you. Back when I had the 1-month filters, I would say, yeah, I'm going to change it every month, and I'd write the date on it, and then I would go back and I'd say, ooh, I think it's about time. And come to find out, it had been 4 months since I had actually remembered to change my filter. And
I thought it was going to be almost a year, like when you change your clocks, like the battery on your smoke detector. Been that long, huh?
Well, you're embarrassed. I mean, here I'm a heat and air owner, and I didn't change my own filter, and you just
you get busy.
You just forget. I mean, it just and so we make sure that that's done. But he's right. I mean, it hurts the motors. It makes your evaporator cools dirty. It does all those things that you're going to have to pay for in the long run if you don't keep those filters clean. But
what about like a week ago? We had some hail, and you had commented to me before we started the show, since we had that hail last week. So you got some calls of people actually wondering about that. Yeah,
people were saying, I've got damage, and does my homeowner's insurance cover it? And so we can come out and do an evaluation and give your homeowner's insurance a write-up showing that there was hail damage to your unit. They do cover it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and one of the things that was really, funny to me was people said, okay, now I've got some hail damage, but can it be fixed, or do I have to replace the outdoor unit? Well, it just depends on how bad the hail damage is. Sometimes, and Raul can respond to this too. We go out to units that are just completely, the coils are smashed flat on the outside, and we're talking about the outdoor unit. And when the hail hits and it just
those little thin aluminum fins there, right there. That if they I've learned this. They crush and they can't work that way.
And that's how your unit breathes,
right?
And so it'll burn up motors. It'll make compressors run high amps. It will do all kinds of stuff, and it won't cool right. People say, we've gone out to some that are just completely smashed flat all the way around, and we have a thing called a fin comb where we can try to comb it out, but we could spend 5 days there trying to comb it out enough to make it where it might work. By the time you've done that, you may have been able to afford a whole new outdoor unit. But I suggest that people, and we know we had last Saturday, the hail was unbelievable. It looked like it snowed. And I mean, I remember getting up thinking, what in the world? And it was hail, and it was a lot of it. And so we've had a lot of people call, and we've seen quite a few units that did get hail damage, and we've been able to help them out.
Let's talk about the opportunity, too, that you can get these estimates given to you. We talked about this last week, and a lot of times, people, of course, what's the catch? Or, you're going to come out and give me an estimate, but you're really going to tell me something different, you are wanting to be upfront and honest as far as, each is going to be different, depending on how the conditions of each are. But talk about in the process about when I call you up and say, hey, I want you to just come, because this is the best time to do it because, well, it's cooler right now, cool start right now, but we know it's coming, and this is probably the best time to check it out, not when it's 100 degrees and, oh, my gosh, can you get me? And we're 2 days out because there's about, 6 customers in front of you. So
Right. And one of the good things about it is that now's the time to get everything serviced and ready for summer, and we're starting to do a lot of those checks now, and we're having people call. I mean, it got up to 80 last week, and it's supposed to be in the 80s, upper 80s.
Again, like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, like upper 80s. And we're talking 85, 88. And so we're just right around the corner from hot. So now's the time to get in touch with us and let us get you a maintenance scheduled. And you can call us at 1-800-AIR-REPAIR, and our local number is 354-0330. But 1-800-AIR-REPAIR works as well all the time. Or you can go to jjburk.com. And we have an online form that you fill out, and you can ask for service. You can ask for estimates, any of that on our website as well.
And an estimate, how much that costs for you to come out and evaluate that?
It's free.
I still can't believe that. That's why I have to ask you and make sure you say it. So I'm not saying it.
It's free.
Okay.
It's always free. And we I mean, sure, we're in the market to sell heating and air equipment. That's what we do.
Right.
And, it's kind of like a car salesman. If they didn't sell cars, they wouldn't be in business anymore.
Sure.
So we're the same way. But at the same time, we're not going, we're reputable. We've been here a long time. We're not going to come out and just tell you something that you need or you don't need. Maybe we just need to service what you have and give you a plan on, hey, this may be, this is a 10-year-old unit. You may have 5 to 8 more years or whatever of good life. So start planning that there's down the road, and we've gone. I went to one. It wasn't. I guess it was probably 2 weeks ago that I have never seen a unit so in such great condition, and it was 30 years old. It was 30 years old. It was still, it looked wonderful, but the guy kept telling me, my utilities just go up year after year. My utilities go up. Well, they're just kind of like us, Eric. Over time, we wear out. So,
really? You had to tell me that? Maybe you're experiencing that.
Just me, right?
Yeah.
But they just don't have the capacity they used to. Somebody will say, well, I have a 3-ton unit. Well, after it's run for 30 years, imagine what the real capacity is. It may only be 2-ton of capacity. So it's having to run twice as much to make you think you're still staying cool, and you're paying double in utilities. So if we can help you with that, we'll talk about that. We do the evaluation, and again, it is totally free.
We're going to talk about the employment opportunities, so get a paper and pen out for that. And, even if you don't have a question, you just say, hey, listen, love the show, listening to the show, and you send an email quickly to J&J Burk Home Show at townsquaremedia.com. We'll get your name in for that drawing for that free duct cleaning offer, a $700 value. Who's giving you a $700 value to win something? An opportunity right there. Even if you don't have a legit question, just say, hey, been listening to the show, been very informative. J&J Burk Home Show at townsquaremedia.com or call 581-3605. We'll be back in just a minute.
Go to Adventure Travel's website at adv-travel.com or klaw.com.
It's the ultimate throwback vacation with Adventure Travel and KLaw 101.
Hi, I'm Jay Burk from J&J Burk Heating and Air. At J&J Burk, we've combined the rebates from PSO and CenterPoint Energy to save you up to $7,000 on the most energy-efficient systems available. J&J Burk is a 2014 and 2015 PSO Partner of the Year for the entire state of Oklahoma. We're still the best at getting you the rebates. So call us at 1-800-AIR-REPAIR or go to jjburk.com and learn how you can save thousands today. I'm Jay Burk, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
You betcha. And the J&J Burk Home Show continues here at KLaw 101. And we want to hear from you at J&J Burk Home Show at townsquaremedia.com. We're giving away a $700. It's a clean out of your air vents, and that's a great opportunity. So you can go there or call 581-3605. Briefly, we touched upon it last week. There actually is employment opportunities. So know of someone that fits this criteria, thinking about it. What is it?
Absolutely. We're looking for licensed journeyman installers and service technicians. But what I think more than anything, what we're looking for is somebody that wants to work year-round. A lot of times in our business, that's not what happens. They get laid off.
Seasonal?
Laid off in the winter and cut their hours, and we don't do that. So we're busy year-round, and we need people that want to be a part of our family. So we're looking for journeyman for sure in both install and service. But they can go to jjburk.com and on the info page and send that in. We also have some ads on Indeed.com, but they can come by our office. No phone calls, please. We'd prefer you come by because we need you to bring your resume or application by. But definitely journeyman heating and air, licensed Oklahoma journeyman. I get them from all over the world. So people, and we have people that have applied since last week that heard this on the show and have applied because they're moving into a lot with military. So we love the people that have military experience. We know that those are great employees anyway, and so we are definitely in the market for journeyman installers and service technicians.
Very good, because Raul was nervous for a minute. He thought that you were going to say, we need to replace Raul now.
Yeah.
It's just these.
So our goal is we don't just bring them in and say, we expect you to know everything. We're going to send you through rigorous training. We have full benefits.
Really?
Health insurance, we've got it all. So
wow.
just come and join our family, and most of our guys stay for years and years and years, and so we're very happy with that. And like I say, Raul's been there 10 years. We've got guys that have been there just about that same length of time. So we want to make it where Lawton is the place to be. Lawton is a great city to live in. It's a great place to work, and there's a lot of opportunity. And we're, with our growth, we've growing so fast as a heating and air company. So many more calls and stuff are going on throughout the year. And not just this last year. We've been growing for the last 4 or 5 years, but the last 2 years have been amazing. And so we're going to need more help, and we need good help. And so we'd love to have some new people on our team.
Now, before we close out, and I want to talk briefly, especially with the incentives the PSO still, is giving Centerpoint Energy. We talked about some of the saving avenues there and some of the money that's allocated to use those savings. I want to just kind of briefly say, in weeks to come, we already had Rule as our special guest, and I thank you for coming and being a part of it this morning. But also that we're not going to just maintain just always heat and air. That's why it's the J&J Burk Home Show. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff in the home that's going to help save you money, and that's really your forte, and that's what we really want to get out across of who you are and what you offer. But there'll be times that we'll have different guests that just will have stuff to deal with your home, maybe even landscaping or maybe a mortgage company, or just because we care about your as the home is a complete package. Central Heat and Air is just a part of that, but it's still your home, and that's your comforts of your home.
Absolutely. And one of our next guests is going to talk about he's the one that does the test for PSO, and so he's going to be one of our next guests next week. Hopefully that will be able to talk to you about why test your house. What can you do when you test your house? What do you find? And we have people coming to talk about if you're building a new home, what should we look for? We have a builder that's going to come in and talk to you about what to look for in a builder. What kind? When I built my house, it's like I know a lot of guys, but who's the guy? Right. Who's the what and what kind of person? What certified builders are there? Certified? I didn't have a clue, and so it really is a learning curve. And if you're having remodel stuff done, we're going to bring in guys to do everything from tile to everything else. So we're going to have a lot of great guests, and we've got them lined up for the next at least 10 to 15 weeks already lined up. So
very nice. And touch briefly, the program's still available, right? I know that funds are could end before the summer gets through, but go ahead.
Yeah, last year they ended in August, and the funds are still available today. So you have up to $7,000 in rebates, and that is true money that comes directly off the invoice. So they're paying for you to get all these things done to your home. So we come out, do the free evaluation, and we can tell you how much they can save you.
Wow. And we talked a little bit about those neat tests. I can't wait to see that done at my house, where you put the little thing up on the door and then you draw all that air to see where it's going. And so it really makes sense to take advantage of that. One last time to tell you that you can call 581-3605 and leave a recorded message that we can maybe use your question on the air. And with the caller ID capabilities, we'll see what that is, and we'll put you in the registered drawing for our weekly prize, which, by the way, is a $700 vent cleaning for this time. And then J&J Burk Home Show, if you're a little more intimidated, you don't really want to use the phone, but you're really good at email. Who isn't these days? Text and email. You can just email at jnjburkhomeshow@townsquarmedia.com. Jay, certainly appreciate it. Great opportunity. Very informative each and every week, and I look forward to seeing what else we can kind of tackle as far as helping people save in their homes today.
Absolutely.
All right, so next week, same time, 9 a.m. for the J&J Burk Home Show. For your Raul, who come in this morning, I want to thank him, and for Jay Burk, Eric Sherem, having a pleasant weekend, and maybe you can say,
well, I hope Boomer Sooner.
Boomer Sooner, that's right. Hopefully the Sooners will go into a national championship game.
Absolutely.
Two games just one game to get there and two to win it all. So wow.
I'm ready for today.
All right, we'll see you then, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, Jay Burk here from J&J Burk Heating and Air. At J&J Burk, we've been helping you save money and have a more energy-efficient home with the Power Forward rebate program.